everyone, welcome back to the Afters podcast. We are joined with Francesco Rosa. Welcome in. How are you?
We'll get an applause button at some point.
Bing.
The Steam Deck.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. And of course, Mazen and myself, Blondie, Mazen. Welcome.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm so excited to chat all things DJing, denizens, parties, making of them, everything in between.
Of course, as is most common on this podcast, Francesco is a good friend of both of ours, so there's a lot of familiarity.
Yeah.
We usually have people that are people we know, sometimes we don't.
Sometimes we do, and sometimes we don't.
Yeah, so here we are.
Today is the day that we get to talk to you.
Yeah, we've messed around, we've had some fun together.
Yeah.
We've thrown parties together.
Yeah.
It's good
Parties
times,
together. Well,
Ruined parties together.
You actually taught me how to DJ.
I remember that.
Yeah.
That was a good day.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
And
What
now
was this at Pemberton?
No.
I went over to his house.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay,
I remember that.
Yeah.
And we have a way better setup now. And we've got all these plants now. It's like really, it's very nice in there.
It was so
it's
fun.
very earthy now.
Very cool, eclectic. It was great house, beautiful house.
Thank you. Yeah.
No, but that was fun. So before we get into the present day, let's take you back, all the way back into kind of, if you can kind of think about music and try to recall kind of one of the first times that you realized that you were in love with music.
Yeah, I mean, I think since I was like a child, I remember being a little baby dancing around to whatever my parents were playing. My parents love music. And, I remember like going into band and school and stuff like that. But I think when it really clicked was I was about 11 years old. And I remember it's still one of my favorite bands. I heard this band called Cake. And they're from Sacramento, California. They're, and their music is like, it's like spoken poetry to music.
Okay.
It's really...
But not rap.
No. It's very like rustic and folky and has that, it's rock and roll. And
cool, okay.
I got this album called Comfort Eagle, and that kind of changed my life. And from there on, I got really curious. And this was back in the day when, you had to go buy CDs. And I had like a Discman with the shock protection.
Yeah, been there.
Love.
And I would just go to the, it was, what was it called? What's the place that always sold all the CDs?
Are you talking about the one on Seymour?
It was the massive one on Burrard.
It was like, it's a chain. It was a chain.
Oh, Virgin.
No, it's gone now.
Yeah. Okay, so I think
I used to work there.
I want to say it's Tom's, but I could be wrong.
I forget what it's called now.
Yeah.
I used to work there, and my job was literally fixing CDs that people open to listen to.
Right.
And I would just go there and find a CD that I liked the cover of, and I would just buy it. And that was what I spent my allowance on.
I was kind of the same thing. Cool. And there's a few different shops that I would go to. There's one on Seymour. I think it's where 560 is
HMV.
Okay,
HMV.
There's HMV as well, which
that's
is
where
Virgin,
I would
turn
go.
into Virgin.
Yeah.
So HMV, that's the big one.
I remember going there.
And the one on Seymour, I think it's Tom's, but I could be wrong on that. It could be something else. And I would sometimes like have $20 and spend like 4 hours trying to pick which one I'm trying to like.
Exactly.
Is it this one? Is it going to be this one? Is it going to be this one? I worked all week for this $20. I gotta
There's one CD, and
exactly.
it's so crazy that music is so accessible to us right now. Yeah.
I know that was it, and I actually didn't listen to dance music until I was like in my 20s. I listened to electronica growing up, like lots of Chemical Brothers, Dust Brothers, like Crystal Method, like Fisher Spooner, stuff like that. But actual dance music wasn't really being sold on CDs at HMV.
Right.
So there was those big shiny house mixes.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
That was all mainstream.
I didn't like that. Yeah. I never liked that.
No.
I used to abhor those.
Yeah, me too. I thought it was terrible.
Yeah.
So.
I never got into these.
Yeah, thank God.
But, I'd say it's been a process of like developing the taste.
What has that process been for you?
I mean, definitely figuring out why you like something is difficult, and it takes like I still listen to Cake and I'll listen to one of their songs, and like just recently I was listening to one of their songs, and I've been listening to that song for like 23 years, and I finally got it. I finally understood it.
That's
so
cool
that actually makes a lot of
realization.
sense too. Because like you're seeing it through a lens of a person who's had more experiences. You know, it's I've had that situation too with some stuff that I used to listen to, but I used to listen to like when I used to listen to hip hop back in the days, I used to listen to pretty rough stuff. When I was a kid.
Too, yeah.
And it meant a different thing to me than it does now.
Yep.
Oh, for sure.
You know, and it's interesting to see. I mean, we're getting a little off topic because we're talking about hip hop right now, but it's interesting to see where the genre's gone now.
Yeah.
And it was such a social movement back then, and now it's like almost an anti-social movement right now. Anyway, side topic, but we could talk
it's all relevant. It's all relevant,
Yeah.
and like we wouldn't have house music and whatever without all the things that came before it.
Sure.
All the pillars that make it up.
And I like what you said about like then and now. It's like for me, it's like the perspective of when I was a boy, and now the perspective of when I'm a man. And I process things very differently. Yeah. So art means different things to me.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, that's very cool. It's also cool that like songs and those sorts of like art pieces hold such a memory that you have when you first picked it up or looked at it or heard it or anything like that, and you can sometimes go right back to that memory. It holds
nostalgia is such a powerful emotion, right? And you don't get nostalgia when you're a kid. It happens as an adult, right?
And it's so personal.
And
you can't
it's
share
so
it.
Powerful. It's created literally billion-dollar art franchises, about like all these people, millennials, 30s, 40s, even 50s, the comic book stuff that's come out, like that stuff is huge, not because kids of our time right now like it.
I buy comics.
It's because of us.
I buy comics.
So
there we
so
go.
that's I mean, it's nostalgia is so powerful, and marketing taps into that. All that stuff taps into that, and music is absolutely taps into that for sure. You know, the stuff that you listen to, when you hear it when you're older, it really brings strong emotions, strong emotions for sure.
Very emotions. There's so many emotions in music and that sort of thing too.
There are songs I avoid because they remind me of breakups that I had when I was like 16 years old. Every time I love the Strokes, I still listen to them, but every time I listen to like Is This It or like Room on Fire, I'm just like, but I love it. I love it.
We love that. Oh, that's cool. So getting into your kind of like high school and then like after that, when abouts did you kind of get into the electronic music scene?
I mean, this is something that I never used to talk about, but I'm past it now, and I'm cool to talk about it in public. Is like my earlier years were crazy, and it's a long story, but like I broke my back when I was 10, and I never saw like a doctor, never treated, and I actually broke it 2 more times after that. It was another time when I was like 16 and another time when I was like 18. Okay. And I ended up, I got my wisdom teeth taken out when I was like 14, and they gave me opiates, and I realized that made my back stop hurting.
Right.
And I got super addicted to heroin. I was like addicted to heroin from like 14 to 20, dropped out of school, never finished school, dropped out in grade 9. And when I moved to Vancouver, I was 20. And that was when I quit. And I spent about 5 years, like 6 years working in a dispensary. It was like one of the this is when weed was still illegal.
Yeah, for sure.
And one of my buddies who worked at the dispensary was like, hey, do you want to go to Shambhala with me? And I was 25 years old. And I was like, I remember what I said to him exactly. I was like, Cam, I don't like that hippie shit. And I was like, I do not want to go with you. I was like, definitely.
Why were you wrong?
I was like, definitely not. And at this point, I had finally kind of gotten my feet under me. I had gone through recovery. Like I never went to rehab or anything like that. I just went cold turkey myself. And I was really afraid to be in an environment where there were substances.
Of course.
And so I went to Shambhala, and I was just this timid...
After telling him no, you're like, okay, let's let's do it.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I did it. Yeah, He convinced me. Yeah,
that's
so
awesome.
I was this timid little sheep at Shambhala, and I met some people and hung out with them. And I think they actually didn't want me to be around them, but they were like, you know what, like they weren't mean, but I think they were like, who the fuck is this guy? You know?
Yeah.
And I just
what year roughly was
First
this?
timer.
This was like 2005.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
or
early days of it,
2004 or
Oh,
something.
wow, that's a
Yeah.
long time ago.
And and so I remember on the last day, it was like Sunday, they gave me acid. And I was just like standing on this dance floor, just tripping balls. And, you know, up until that point, I absolutely hated myself. And there was this moment where I just had this thought, and I was like, you're actually not a bad dude. I was like, you're okay, you know. And I was and I was like, you know what, I kind of like myself, and it was like a breakthrough. And that was the moment where I kind of realized there was something there for me. From there, I went to Shambhala every year for, you know, the next half a decade.
Yeah.
And Gellert taught me how to DJ. And
Cool.
you know, who hasn't
Yeah,
been
who
taught by
hasn't
Gellert?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the whole city has.
Yeah, he needs
really.
to stop. No, I'm kidding.
He's making too many DJs.
Joking.
Wow.
But yeah, so that was kind of the journey, and you know, going to Gorgamish really showed me a different side, because you know, I had no idea what raving was, and until then I only knew what Shambhala was. And I started going to parties, and then when I got to Gorgamish, I was like, this is fucking cool.
And that's when Siavash was running it?
No, I don't think so. This was like Amy and Graham were
doing it there, okay.
And that changed my life too.
Yeah.
You know, that introduced me to a whole different side of things. And you know, that club, it has such a diverse, beautiful group of regulars, and you know, there's people from all walks of life there, and I never fit in anywhere in my life. And because of my drug addiction and you know, not finishing school, I was very socially inept. And that was a place where I could be myself, and I could really just fly free, and people would just love me for who I was.
It's knowing you now, it seems very hard to believe that you were a socially inept person.
Thank
Not
you.
to say that you're like some like pariah or something, but like you're definitely that never would have been like, oh yeah, he's awkward. Never.
No.
Like,
Yeah.
never. Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And you know, truthfully, I dug way too deep. I started partying way too hard, and I reached a point where, even though I had the best of intentions, I was no longer treating people, you know, the way they deserve to be treated, the way I wanted, you know, like I wasn't treating people the way I wanted to be treated. And I had kind of lost myself, and I committed to going to therapy, and I basically went to therapy. I still go to the same counselor, and I've been going to them for like 8 years. And he basically taught me, you know, how to socialize, how to like step into my own power, how to love myself. And through that whole journey, I've been DJing. And the DJing has just always been there through that whole thing.
Such a consistent throughout the entire
experience. And you know, like I just like, it's funny because the sets I was playing and the type of music I was playing and the stuff I was wanting to download and share with people or whatever, that was a reflection of what I was feeling.
For sure,
feeling and going through.
And as I've become more grounded and more mature, I think my taste and my sound has become more mature, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, it's been a wild journey.
That is insane.
It's
crazy.
It's crazy how often Shambhala comes up.
It really is.
It really is. It's like in how transformative it is. Yeah, I mean, I already knew that because it was transformative for me as well.
Oh, same here, for sure.
Maybe a little later than, you know, because I wanted to go to Shambhala way earlier than I actually ended up going, but like when I did go, it still had a huge impact. Yeah. You know, and I actually, funny thing is, the first time I ever did acid was at Shambhala.
Me too. The one and only time I've ever done acid.
It was,
theoretically, of course.
Theoretically, yeah. I mean, it could have been chocolate.
Never know.
Yeah.
It's wild that like how often like I want to become a DJ comes up from people who go to Shambhala the first time.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I think it's such a transformational experience. You go all the way out to this farm, 8 hours away.
Yeah.
You're not sure what to expect.
especially the way it used to be.
Yeah.
You know, the way it used to be, because
it was a different vibe.
Yeah, because what made Shambhala very special was the people, you know? And what I mean by that is it was the same group of people that went over and over and over again and cultivated this this vibe of openness, universal love, acceptance, and that's what made it so special compared to other festivals. You know, there are other festivals that have aspects of that, but from my experience, nothing has really ever been the way that Shambhala used to be.
That's I disagree. That's Base Coast now, and
Base
Coast
but I mean,
is
a lot of what you know, Base Coast came after Shambhala.
Yes,
so
agreed.
Like,
It's a younger festival. Yeah. But I do think that, you know, like I actually had to stop going to Shambhala. It was, you know, when I started going, you would never see those little carts running around with like the little medical carts, and there's like someone on the back, like, you know, in trouble. And the last time I went to Shambhala, it was like every 5 minutes somebody would be getting hauled off, and I had to
it's turned into a different animal.
It's not the same festival, and then I found Base Coast, and I've been going every year ever since, and Base Coast is like chef kiss.
It really is. I think that's the next natural step too, because Base Coast is smaller.
Yeah.
It's closer.
It's more mature. There's
older. Yeah, that's
refined.
it.
It's everybody puts so much time and energy into their outfits and walking. And they're turning into walking art pieces. Yeah. You know, it gets so cool in there.
It's a more laid back crowd. Like, you know, Shambhala is like we always say it's like baby's first rave. You know, and it was
sure.
Right. It was mine too. And there's a lot of young people there who like just don't know how to handle themselves. And for us, you know, like we've been partying long enough. It's like we don't want to be around. You know, we want to be around people where like we know that they're not gonna take a crazy amount of drugs, and then we have to take care of them all night. Yeah, you know, like,
that anxiety of just like, are you gonna be okay? You know, I don't think anybody wants that really right now.
Yeah, babysitting is not fun.
Yeah, no. And I love the music there too. Like I think the booking at Base Coast is like great. There's always some weird shit that I've never heard that I just love.
All experimental. It's all beeps and boops and bops. Yeah, the librarian I think does a booking. She does a great job.
Yeah, they're doing awesome. I think Max Eulis has a lot to do with it too. I mean, I don't know. I honestly don't know. This is just what I've heard. But but whoever is doing it is doing great. Yeah, and
12 out of 10 out there.
No, that really and Base Coast really inspired me to create Denizens, actually.
Yeah. Okay, so diving into that, where was there a moment that you decided like, I'm going to be a DJ, or was it just kind of naturally found its way to you? Yeah,
so I mean, I just wanted to try it. It looked fun. I didn't really care about being a DJ. To be honest, I've never cared about really being a DJ. It's always just been about, you know, the journey, the enjoyment, and I think because, you know, it sounds so cliche, but because like dance music and raving like really saved me, I just wanted to share that. You know, just that thing that I had found. But, you know, I started to learn, and then I entered this, like, it was actually Patrick Kelly who runs, what's it called, Festivus. He's a great DJ, great guy. And he had this DJ contest, and I entered a mix. It was the first mix, like, I ever made. Still have it. I think it's on my SoundCloud still. It's a good mix, but...
Those first mixes, you go back and listen, you're like, it wasn't bad.
It was good. It was a fluke. And so he gave me a spot, and that's when I met Ali Abji. He won. Ali Abji won the contest. I didn't know how the quantize function worked on CDJs. So I made a loop, and it was like an improper loop, and it was like, and it kind of killed my chances of winning. But that was when I realized that I could do it. And then I started taking gigs, and then I decided that I wanted to be a Gorgamish DJ, and that was a big process. You know, I just kept submitting mixes, and it took about 2 years before I got my first booking. And that was when I really just stepped into the role, you know, and that was when I started really taking it seriously. That's
awesome. So I guess within the music aspect of things too, it's just like, did you gravitate towards Gorgamish because of the music or because of the community?
Oh, both.
Certain aspects in there.
You know, at that, like, I definitely have a dark side, and at the end, Gorgamish was just playing the coolest, darkest, like techiest. You know, at that time, everybody, it was like that really like growly bass line, like really sharp hi-hat, like tech house was becoming really popular, that gangster shit. And I loved it, you know, and I loved it. It just really, it worked for me. And Yeah, it was Gorgamish. Just to this day, it's my favorite place.
Special place.
Yeah, you know, like it's the best. I always make time for it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So I guess with Denizens too, and you said you were inspired by Bass Coast.
Yeah, absolutely.
To make Denizens. Okay, so for folks who don't know, Denizens is a patio party.
I mean, okay, so we do other parties.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that you're
Let's
right.
dig
That
in.
is what we're known for. So Denizens is my event company, and I have a wonderful business partner. Her name is Bija Spevakau, and if you ever come to one of our events, you'll meet her. And I could not have done it without her. And basically, I wanted to make an event company a long time ago, and I did try, and it kind of fell flat, and I realized I wasn't ready. Okay. So I just scrapped it, and it was about 2 years later, I think, or I don't remember how long later, but I went back to my original Facebook page, and I just like rebranded it as Denizens, and I was like, I'm ready now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I was like, I understand like what a good party looks like now.
Ooh, let's dig into that before we get any further. What is a good party for you? What does that mean?
Oh, there's a lot into that question. So, I mean, first thing is like know your audience. So, you know, like a good party to a bunch of 20-year-olds who just got into partying and dancing and raving is not
totally
gonna,
different.
Not going to be the same thing.
So different.
And so for us, it was like, you know, I'm getting a little bit older, and my friends are getting a little bit older, and the music we like is kind of maturing, and maybe we don't want to stay up as late, or maybe we all have more serious jobs. And I wanted to create a space that was not a shitty, like, you know, cement room underneath a bar. You know, I wanted to create a space that was and like nothing against shitty cement rooms under bars.
We've all been there.
Yeah, no, I mean, I still go to them.
They're
like,
great. Yeah, there's a time and a place for that, though.
But you know, I feel like there's this. It's not so much. It's kind of dying out, but there is this obsession with like, oh, the '90s, the underground, you know. And I'm sorry, but like dance music is commerce now. It is not.
Oh, for sure, it's very mainstream.
Yeah,
So
and I mean, especially in Vancouver.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, the underground definitely exists. Yeah. If you
we have it here.
Yeah, if you travel around, you'll find it. But I think that trying to emulate it all the time is a mistake. And so with Denizens, we really wanted to create something that was just comfortable, like you know, safe, like classy, like a little bougie, you know. And like we wanted you, and what I've discovered is that when you create an environment like that, people behave and they socialize more. Yeah, it's not about getting twisted anymore. You know, it's about connection.
Yeah, because I think the people who are attending also, you spoke this perfectly, they've matured, they've done that, you've had that phase, and you're like, okay, I've done that, don't want to see it again.
I mean, the Get Twisted crowd has all of Granville for themselves.
Yeah.
You know, like just if you want to get twisted, there's an entire street.
There's so many people who are
you don't
all...
need to saturate that market yourself. You know.
Yeah.
No, that was a big one. And you know, another one is like, and you know, I'm sure there's going to be a ton of people who are already judging me for calling dance music commerce. But you know what? We live in a really expensive city, and I really like doing well and being successful and making money. And for me, like attracting a crowd that has a little more money in their pockets, because 20-year-olds don't have money in their pockets. Yeah.
No.
That was a big one for me. And the thing is it's a trade-off, because if I can attract that crowd, I can deliver them an experience that is worth their money.
That's right.
Right?
Yes.
And that's the key is, you know, so it's a fair trade. You know? So that was a big one. I wanted to just create a really cool, classy party. And, you know, another huge influence on me was Leave Us Lost. Massive. Yeah. Leave Us Lost just has done such a beautiful job with their events.
Okay. So I haven't been. So what is it about Leave Us Lost? Is it?
I mean, I feel like they're the Vancouver Day Party. Like, they
Lost All Day parties,
They've crushed it, and just the music, like the, you know, tasteful bookings and the crowd, and like they've done so well. You know, Derek and Tess are really lovely. And no, that was a huge inspiration for me too.
No, I love that.
Yeah, for sure.
So I guess the music aspect of things too, like what do you like to hear? Who are you booking? How are you sourcing them, finding them, putting the party together?
That is, it's like a rat nest of all kinds of connections. You know, I definitely think what kind of music I want to hear. Obviously, I have a personal taste. I really like, you know, deep, tribal, like progressive, techie, you know. I really like that stuff. And I really enjoy like a lower BPM, like a more laid back, like groovy environment. So we definitely try to stick to that kind of vibe. You know, it's like music you can kind of move with a drink in your hand. It's you know, it's sun is shining. You know, you're having a conversation, and like it's just enough. You know, it's just enough.
It just gets in that little sway movement back and forth.
Yeah. And every once in a while you're like, oh yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But
something that happens.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that we don't book other types of music. But I like to kind of swing between, you know, one night it'll be like more like housey, disco-y, fun, you know, and then another day will be like more like minimal, techie, like serious, like, you know, we're gonna groove tonight, and then another one will be like more like deep, progressive, melodic, like emotional, like, you know, we're feeling things today, you know. And so when I create lineups, I try to think about stuff like that. And I also like to do kind of like a head fuck lineups where it's it's DJs that wouldn't normally play together, but I know that they will do well together,
right?
And their sounds will complement each other even though they come from different worlds. And that's another really fun way to do a party.
That's
for
cool.
sure.
Yeah,
Definitely.
So and that's I think lineup creation and like just curation. It seriously, like I used to think it was like anybody could do this, you know? Dude, it is so much. Like I mess it up all the time, and I'm always learning from my mistakes and watching how other people do it. And you need to have so much intention when you are creating lineups.
Oh, for sure. For me, because I've thrown a few parties in my day, and obviously, you know, it goes without saying, for me, the music is the main reason why I throw parties is so I can listen to the music that I want to listen to.
Oh, for sure.
But then I also, when I'm booking acts, I book acts that I, like you said, that may not be the same, but they can go together. Almost like if you're listening to a set, it's a different part of the journey.
Yes. Yeah, we're telling a story.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then I have to cherry pick who I think I want to invite to hear that. And to go to that party. So, you know, I've only thrown maybe, I don't know, 12 to 20 parties in my life, but they've all been insanely good because it's literally tailored to exactly the way I want it.
Exactly.
I've never made any money off parties.
Yeah,
it's
always hard.
It's just but the thing is, I've always kept the ticket price with the goal that if I sell it out, I'm going to break even or make just over, as in case there's an emergency. But like, you know, I think the most I've ever walked away with is $400.
Yes.
For the hundreds of hours of work that I put into it is literally nothing.
No.
So, but the experience was like so exactly what I wanted, and I'm so happy that I have people like you, the next generation, throwing amazing parties with amazing music. Because the only reason I threw parties is because I couldn't find the music that I wanted to do.
It's another reason. That's why I started doing it too.
So now I don't throw parties anymore because why? There's a good party every week, at least one.
Quality
so
party that you want to go to.
The Vancouver scene, like seriously, hats off to the Vancouver scene. It is everybody in the Vancouver scene. Like
it's really,
they work so hard, like yourself included. You work so hard to come up with all of the kind of encompassing things, the branding, the marketing, it's a lot of work. Lineup. So you were saying too, you made a lot of mistakes and learned from them.
Oh yeah, totally.
What were a couple of them?
Oh man, I mean, like one is, this is a really big one, is you need to be I'm gonna think about how to say this. I don't want to just come off the wrong way. You need to know when to say no to people. Because there are so many people who want things from you, and a lot of them are really good well-intentioned. Some of them aren't, and not all of them are ready for the thing that you want them to do. And so
or they want from you too.
And that's a big one, you know, is a lot of the times, like some of the bigger mistakes I've made is when I book somebody and I love them and I love their music and I love what they're doing, but they're not ready to play a set, you know.
Interesting.
Yeah, and you know, generally it's not like, oh, they're bad at mixing. That's never really the issue. I don't really, you know, I know when somebody can mix. And I think a lot of people who are learning to DJ, they think mixing is what it's all like it's actually the last thing it's about. Like,
it's also pretty easy.
Yeah, mixing is easy. Yeah,
that
exactly.
you can pick up, no problem.
I actually taught like DJ classes at a school for like kids from like I think it was like grade 6 and to like 12 or like something.
Okay.
And they learned how to beat match in an hour.
Yeah.
You know, it's not it's not hard.
You taught me to beat match in an hour, and I have that
when
skill
to bring
today.
in a song and when to pull out it's like it's not
freezing,
like it's not
beat matching.
it's not huge.
No.
You know.
No.
It's what to play, when to play it, how to you know, exactly like how to
Take people on a
it's
journey.
obviously
and you know the big one is how to read the crowd and then how to give them what they want. And that takes so much practice. You know, there's no manual. And it requires humility. And that's a big one is, you know, you can be really good at that skill and then you can become a self-absorbed prick and then you can lose that skill. Yeah, because essentially, like, you know, when I teach people how to read a crowd, what I say is, you're never going to play one song that pleases everybody. Right. And you also can't come out swinging, because what you actually have to do when you're DJing, especially for like a big crowd, is you have to earn everyone's trust. And to do that, you have to pay attention to them. You have to make eye contact. You have to interact with them. You have to get into their shoes, and you have to figure out, okay, I played this track with like a really groovy bass line. That group of people really liked it. Awesome. I know what they like.
Yeah.
Okay, that person's not having fun. These people are not enjoying it. Let's feel. You want deep and you want melodic and okay.
Yeah.
And then you start collecting the room. You start collecting everyone. You start making connections, and then once everyone trusts you, that's when you bust out the weird shit, because then they're gonna listen. They're gonna actually, they're gonna be like, you know what, this guy knows what he's doing. I don't know what the fuck this is, but I'm gonna dance to it.
I'm here for it.
I'm gonna try to dance to it.
Yeah.
And that's the process. And a lot of DJs are not capable of doing that, or they're just not. They don't know how, or they're not ready. And it just takes a lot of gigging, and a really humble and you know, open and teachable attitude. Yeah. So like, you know, to any DJs, the moment you stop being teachable, the moment you think you know everything, the moment you stop being humble, you have failed as a DJ.
I think that's a
Amen.
general life statement.
Yes.
You know, the more that I think about my own personal development journey, whenever I feel like I've reached my goals, whatever that is, I've reached a good level, like I'm happy, everything's going right in my life. And you just take your foot off the gas just a little bit, it all fucking just.
That's so a good. Quick. I like that analogy. It's good.
And it's and I know this. I know it. I repeat it to myself every day, and it still has happened to me multiple times. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, you just your lizard brain needs that reminder sometimes. Yes. But it's like, you know, it's I think that's exactly what you're trying to say when it comes to like being a DJ, performer of any kind. And I think that's just a life lesson. Yeah. You know,
any artist that can apply to
because it's not about us. Like, there's different types of DJing, you know, and like if you want to be a club DJ, right? Like that's what I do. I play clubs and you know, the odd festival or whatever. That means that it is not about me at all.
That's right.
Yeah. It really is not. And most DJs they're always going to be on that level. They're never going to escape that level, and they want to escape, but they need to remember it's not about them. And you know, when you get behind the decks, you need to remember, like, this is a job. Like, you were hired and paid to keep those people on the dance floor so they buy drinks. That is your job. You're not some fucking like gift
artistic,
to the I mean, you could be an artist. But no, I get what. You know, you got it.
Well, I mean, the thing is, I know exactly what you're trying to say, and the thing is like, you know, we say that, but then there's also DJ producers that we'll go and see because we want to hear their sound.
See, that's a different thing.
Because what you're talking about is you're a person that not everybody necessarily knows. And you're talking about, I have to build trust with that crowd. Whereas if you're like a headlining DJ that people buy tickets, you're on tour, all that stuff. That status and trust has already been built with your audience. So
and those are some of the worst shows.
Sometimes they are, yeah. Sometimes
like some of them are amazing,
Yeah.
but I've seen some DJs where like, or some it's producers where I'm like, love this guy's music, let's go see him play,
Yeah.
and I'm like, what the shit is that?
Disappointment.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
like, you know, not everybody is a performance artist.
Yeah.
Some people are more just artists. They're just they're creating.
Yeah.
You know, they're creating art, right? I almost said content. Like, yeah, but
You've been in the social media game
yeah.
too long. Yeah,
but,
no, that's fair. I think that's so accurate, though. I think there are so many types of DJs,
Yeah.
and to pigeon everybody into a hole of you need to do this, this, and this in order to be a DJ or performance artist is just a mistake.
the role that you're booked for, like you said, you know, it's just you're there for a job. You know, there's a difference between somebody who's like a established touring producer that gets booked for AAA gigs versus somebody who's working at a club. That's and there's everything in between.
Yeah.
and your brand is powerful, and like, you know, obviously we are our brands, you know, but at the end of the day, it's like what you do with it, you know? So just figure out what you want to do. And, you know, if you want to, like, I know, like, one person I think about is, oh my God, I'm forgetting her DJ name. It's on the tip of my tongue. Her name is Nagar. Yeah, you know Nagar. And I remember when, like, nobody knew who Nagar was, you know? And she... Oh my God, I'll remember her name.
It's right on the tip of my tongue.
She makes Bass House, and
it's nostalgic.
Nostalgic.
There we
Dude,
go.
Nagar is a perfect example of somebody who understood what she wanted to be. And instead of wasting all her time chasing club gigs, she went into the studio and she became an incredible producer. She hooked up with the people who run the labels that make the music that she wants to make. And if you look at her Instagram, like dude, that girl is playing shows where like you can't see the back. You know?
Totally.
Oh, she's playing stadiums, festivals, everything. She really blew up.
She's a wonderful person. And that's a really good example of somebody who knew what they wanted and they went out and got it themselves because they're a fucking hard worker.
That's a good point. If you don't want to be the DJ that knows how to read the room, you have to become that, where your sound and what you create is what drives people to the show.
There's a precedent there. They know what they're going to get.
Which is what I'm like, exactly.
I'm the guy where like you're on the dance floor with your friends and you're like, I don't know who this guy is, but this is good.
Well, I'll tell you.
Like that's me, you know? Like nobody knows who I am.
Well, I'll tell you right now though, like every time I go to a show where you're playing, somebody comes up to me and says, this is my favorite DJ. Every single time.
Thank you.
And it's a different person. Hey, don't thank me. They're the ones saying it. But it's like, you know, so it's like, you know, don't sell yourself short. Like the amount of times that's happened is astonishing.
Oh yeah.
So you're doing something right for sure.
I appreciate that.
Like it's definitely like, you know, what you're preaching and what you're doing are congruent with the success that you have on the floor.
Yes.
So I try to be authentic. And I try to be authentic every day. And oftentimes it means I have to be an asshole. But you know, that's no, me and Mazen understand each other. That's the reason we're friends. I think having strong boundaries is just so important, especially in this industry. So many people, they want to take bites out of you, you know, they want a piece of what you have, or they want, you know, or they want to use you to get more of what they have. Like, you know, I've had a bunch of instances where, you know, I won't name any names here, but I love gossip and I love spilling the tea, but I don't want to throw anybody on the bus.
Okay, censor
under
names,
the bus, but I've been booked, you know, at events for like a name for like, you know, venues, event company stuff like that everybody knows. And I show up and I play my gig and then I say, hey, like, can I get my $100? Can I get my $150 or whatever? You know, my like little piece of the massive piece that they got. And they're like, oh, we're not paying anybody tonight. Oh. And I'm like, well, you know, and I'm like, well, why is that? You know? And they're like, oh, like it's, you know, it's so-and-so's birthday, so this is a gift to them. And I was like, okay, well, you hired me.
That means it's coming out of your portion.
Like I don't give a fuck if it's your girlfriend's birthday.
Yeah.
You know, I literally like took time out of my life to do this. You hired me. You're gonna fucking pay me.
Yeah.
I got them to pay me. Never been booked by them since.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's doing you a favor.
I would never go back, right? But that kind of shit.
I just kind of ran into that.
Especially because you agree to it ahead of time, especially, and it's like, oh, we're just changing the terms after the fact.
That's garbage. Yeah, that's garbage. That's garbage, people. Never agree to do something for free. Your time is too valuable. Shit is too expensive.
We've said it many times on here.
Especially in Vancouver.
I've
played way too many times for free.
Well, that party fails if the music sucks.
Yes.
You know, so it's not like, you know, if the bartender's a little slow, well, you just made a little less money. But if the DJ sucks or doesn't show up, or you're just like playing off your phone, that place is empty. It just is. So the amount of importance the role of DJ has for a party versus what they're getting paid is just seems crazy to me. It's just crazy.
And you know, like, it's tough, man, because like I really want to pay DJs more. Like for example, you know, Denizens, it's 100-person party. It's only 100 people up there.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's a tiny little thing, and we keep the ticket prices real low. We also we don't have a folding table for DJ booth. You know, I actually spent the whole day painting the new DJ booth that we're going to be using this weekend. It cost me over $4,000 to build that thing. Yeah, and it doesn't look that great.
Don't go
you
to
know,
the
like
party now,
so that whole party is paying for that table essentially.
I mean, that's like, dude, that's
a
bunch of parties. And you know, and so right now I think the most common rate you see in Vancouver, and this is, you know, obviously it depends where you're playing, but like it's around $100 an hour.
100, 150, roughly.
Yeah, and a lot of people people who don't understand the industry will go, wow, that's really good money. People who do understand the industry, that's
like,
terrible.
that is nothing.
Yeah, like I buy all my own music, and I don't just buy MP3s, I buy AIFs, and the AIFs are more expensive. So, you know, my USB, it only has like I only have like a library of just over 3,000, maybe like 3,400 tracks.
Which is
over
low.
many years.
This is another secret that I tell DJs, like, stop downloading so many tracks. And so because I pay for all of my tracks, I only download a track if it is special. I don't download anything if it's not special. My entire library is just special tracks. And I paid like $5 for every one of them. So if you stole my USB, it would be like over $10,000 of music.
Wow.
You know, and I've paid for all that.
That's so valuable.
And so then that's not including the time I spend getting my set ready.
Oh, for sure, yeah. You know, at the end of the day, like, you know, we've talked to so many DJs on how much time they spend in prep. You guys are making like $5 an hour.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Gorgamish it's a 3-hour set, and it's like 4 to 6 hours of prep time. So it's like,
and that's on the low end for a 3-hour set.
And you're getting paid $300, which is, you know, great. You get to go play for 3 hours, you get $300 in your pocket, but all the prep time, it doesn't actually end up being that much. Like I think it's worth it. You know, I really do think it's worth it.
I mean, you're not in it to make millions.
Exactly. If you're like, here's the thing. If a place is going to pay you more than the standard rate, it's because you're selling tickets.
Your name is selling tickets.
Like here's the thing, like if you want to participate in a business where money is being exchanged, you need to remember it's a business. And that is what I mean when dance music is commerce. You know? And so it's a really fine line, you know? And so I definitely think that like some of the bigger venues and whatnot, and, you know, definitely need to like start upping what they're paying their DJs. But yeah, for like a tiny little party, it's really hard to to compete. And so
even a place like Gorg, where you know that place fits like maybe 300 people in.
It's a 300 capacity.
So it's like, you know, 300 people is not that many people.
No.
Not also making millions.
And they have to pay rent every month, etc. So it's like
Yeah, I mean that club does well, but it's like, you know, I mean for Denizens, it's $100 an hour, and then if we sell the party out, it's a $30 bonus. And I mean, and you know, we give you a +1 and a free drink and a good time and a sunset. You know, and then the goal is, you know, with Denizens, like we have a 5-year plan and we have a 10-year plan, and like what we're doing now is actually just a step. It's a vehicle that takes us to where we want to go.
Right.
Yes.
So we're basically just shoveling money into a furnace, you know, and hoping that it has
5
enough.
years it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got some wheels under
Yeah.
it. It's
That's the
actually going
table that you're
somewhere.
building and all that
Yeah,
kind of stuff.
I would say I'm about 30 grand in for Denizens. Yeah. And like we are, and this is another big thing is like if you want to play with the big boys and you want to be successful and you want, you know, big boys and big girls and big people and
All the bigs.
and you want to be successful and you want to do something more than an underground party that will get shut down by the cops, you need to hire an entertainment lawyer, you need to get incorporated, you need to get a Canadian trademark, you need to create contracts for all of your artists, you need to get a City of Vancouver business license, you need to get like liquor licenses, you need to get all these freaking permits.
But wait, there's more. Yeah.
I've done all of that, and it took me like years to actually get all that together so I could start throwing parties.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah,
That's crazy,
and so that is another big part that a lot of people are not willing to do, and that is why they will fail.
Yeah, they just want to grab a
They
group
don't
and throw some decks together and off
Which
you go.
is great. Go ahead and do that.
If you don't have grand plans and you're like, we're just going to throw like a crazy messy party.
Yeah.
I've done that lots of times.
Yeah.
I used to throw beach parties and this is before Denizens ever existed. And we would just rent a sound system and we would haul like a 400-pound generator like down to Wreck Beach and back up and you know, that was it.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So more power to you. But if you want to go to that next level, like you have to start thinking like an entrepreneur.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It takes all the...
And the fact that you're
business.
dotting all the I's and crossing the T's is why you're not making any money right off the bat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it is a business. It's not...
Well, and you got to pay all that stuff.
Yeah,
That's just huge.
I want Denizens to eventually allow me to quit my job.
Yeah.
And so it's, you know, it's a long haul.
Yeah.
And there have been moments where like actually just this year where I had some days where I was like, what the fuck am I doing? You know, it's like I was like this is crazy. Today when I was like I chipped my tooth today and I spent the whole day like painting this booth and I was literally so upset. I was like, why do I do this to myself?
Oh my gosh. But then you think about the 10-year plan, the party that's going to come up, and you're going to have a moment in the party where be like, this was worth it.
Yeah, you know what keeps me going is my business partner, Bija. Yeah, she, when I started the company, I started it on my own, and I didn't really know Bija, and she actually like booked me for this like bush rave way out in Squamish, and this was a time when I was playing like 3 bush raves a weekend. It was like kind of during the lockdown. So,
So that was all the party
Our
we were doing
infamous
anyway.
bush rave
yeah,
days.
it was crazy. You know, yep, you caught me. Like I did. I was vaccinated, but like I was out having fun. But
sue me? No, I'm just kidding. Please don't.
I mean, good luck. But I got lawyers.
He's got lawyers. I'm a paralegal. Let's go. I'll help him out.
So I went to this little bush rave, and I drove all the way out there, and my set was at 5 a.m. And I had just played one the previous night, and I was just dead. And that was at the time I was with this girl, and like she like just slept in the car the whole time I played. And when I got there, it was like the sun had just come up, everybody was asleep. There was like 6 people, but the location was like immaculate. I went to it was the best bush rave I've ever been to. It was like stepping into a fairy kingdom. It like they had like manicured like the forest and cleaned it up, and like it was just, it's hard to describe how beautiful. And
which area in Squamish was it?
oh man, I
Was
forget.
it in the Squamish Valley?
Yeah.
But, so
But,
by the river maybe? Or?
it was right next to a river,
Yeah,
and there was
okay.
this huge like cedar wood chip dance floor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was.
They
it's-
really
Wow,
put
they
the
really
time in
went all
it.
out, yeah.
This
It
is
was-
not your average
No, and
bush
there was like
rave.
fairy lights everywhere. It was ethereal. It was
Yeah.
like I stepped through a fairy ring into like some other world.
Oh,
and I got to
sun's
play,
rising.
And Bija was asleep. I never met her, and I played my set, went home, and then I started Denizens, and I knew that I was overwhelmed, and there was no way that I could do this on my own. And I had Joey Beltram coming to Gorgamish, and you know, if you don't know who Joey Beltram is, he's kind of like considered one of like the fathers of techno. You know, he's a New Yorker. You know, he's really cool guy, very nice. And
old head, if you will.
yeah, and so me and Joel West, who runs Groundwork, who is, I just want to say this right now, Joel West is he is the most like dedicated, hardworking, inspired producer I've ever met in my life.
Yeah.
Friend of the podcast.
Friend of the pod.
Joel.
Yeah, he's been on.
Yeah, Joel West is just.
He's a genius.
Yeah, he's a fucking
and
genius.
So kind.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So we brought Joey Beltram, and Bija had been reaching out to me through Messenger, and she was like, "Hey, I know you like we never met when you came to my party, but she's like, I heard about Denizens, and I was wondering if I could be involved." And I was like, "Fuck no."
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know who you
what
are.
do you offer with the
I was like, stop messaging me. You know?
Get lost, take a hike.
Yeah, that's actually what I said, and I was basically like, no.
Yeah.
You know, and thank God she is very persistent and knows what she wants, and she kept messaging me.
Yeah.
And I was getting overwhelmed by this Joey Beltram show, and I was like, hey, you know what? If you help me with this show and you do a good job, then we'll talk. Yeah. I was like, no promises.
Yeah.
Dude, she saved that show. And like,
wow.
it actually was, like it was when I was still trying to figure this shit out. We had no following. I should not have made that booking. That was a massive mistake.
Too big for
I lost like $2,500 Canadian on that
goodness.
show.
Yeah.
But we had such a good time. And Joey had never played in Vancouver. There were all these people who came to the show who were like, bro, Joey Beltram. They were like, oh, you know.
So excited about it. Yeah.
Bija knocked it out of the park, and that was when I knew that like the universe had brought me my business partner.
No doubt.
And so we signed 50.
Especially since she didn't take no for an answer.
No,
Good
she
on
killed
her.
it. Yeah. And so we went 50-50 partners.
Yeah.
And it's just literally it has just been like the most rewarding experience with her.
That's
yeah.
amazing.
So definitely choose your partners carefully.
Very carefully, so wisely.
Yeah.
Let's go.
You guys get it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, there's a reason he's here.
You need someone who can match what you bring.
For sure. You need someone to pick up and put those. It's like a puzzle piece because you bring this and they bring this, and then you just match and meet in the middle.
Yeah,
you
agreed.
know?
That's how you make a good team.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Look at us go. Yeah. No, it really is. It makes all the difference, and then you can go the longevity because when somebody is kind of having a frustrating day like you had today, then she picks you up, knocks you out of the park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, I do all the stuff she doesn't want to do, like painting booths and, like, you know, and I do the stuff that, you know, I know how to do, like booking DJs and like curating the sound and stuff like that. Man, Bija has written so many freaking, like, grants and done so much paperwork and, you know, done so much work with the city. And, you know, she is, like, just... She runs the back end so professionally of our company, and she also is kind of she is the creative, the visual
Like
chief.
the branding, marketing.
She pretty much designs like what the
outward-facing.
party is going to look like. She decorates it.
Yeah.
You know, she makes it warm and inviting. Like, you know, I'm not that guy. You know,
You're like
you need
black
someone,
again.
Yes, yeah. Like I operate heavy equipment for a living. Like I'm not a flashy dude. I wear the same outfit every day. You know, it's
Fair enough.
So so Bija really, where I'm weak, she is strong.
Yeah, she has that artistic touch.
Yeah. So find somebody who can do that for you.
Compliments you.
I mean, that's us in a nutshell. Like,
Yeah,
she does the stuff I don't want to do. I do the stuff she doesn't want to do.
Yeah.
And that's why you succeed.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's
that's
a
why we're
perfect
still
balance.
here.
I also want to shout out to my beautiful, intelligent, incredible girlfriend. I know you guys have met her.
Yeah,
Her name's
she's
Siobhan.
so gorgeous.
Yeah, and just she's so cool. And like she's been learning to DJ, and she's become a wonderful DJ. I'm blown away by how good she's become, and so thoughtful, so humble. You know, she hates attention. You know, so like for her to get up and play a set, it's
big
hard.
deal. Yeah.
It's fucking hard for her, and she's our bartender at Denizens.
Yeah.
And that is another piece of the team that, like, if we did not have Siobhan doing the bar, oh my god, like she has just her and Bija have just killed it in every and so they really let me do what I do best.
That's right, which allows you to
Yeah.
be unleashed in that.
Yes.
Yeah, sometimes you have to get out of other people's way. Sometimes you have to get out of your own way.
Yeah.
You know?
And and when we need patience and understanding and like kindness and love, Bija's there. And when we need somebody's ass beat, I'm there. You know, and that's
Perfect
kind of
match.
So like we
haven't had
look
to
out
beat
for each
anybody
other.
up, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I
We
just
look out for each other.
I don't like people trying to take advantage of us.
For sure.
It happens a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, I mean,
For
it's just
sure. It's
the world's always
nature
trying to get you, you know.
of the
You
industry,
just got to be resilient against it.
of the party. Someone gets a little too drunk.
Yeah, and also just like people, especially promoters. There's a lot of promoters who want what you have, what you have worked so hard to create, and they will find all kinds of interesting ways to get you to give them a piece of it.
Right.
You just got to keep saying no.
No. Be really
absolutely.
firm in that.
And I don't want to sound like I'm gatekeeping, because we do collaborative events. Like, again, shout out Raised by Raves, you know, Colton and Eddie. When I first kind of got to know Colton and Eddie, I was like, these guys are too young. I don't trust them. Like, you know, and we did a show with them at Gorgamish not long ago, and dude, they're like two of my favorite people now.
They're sharp tools in the shed there.
They're very intelligent, very sharp. Raised by Raves is run beautifully. They've got a future, and so like when you find people that you can work with, it's great. But like collaborative events are a nightmare usually. They're usually a nightmare
because you have two different schools of thought on
too many cooks.
Oh, for sure. So many cooks in the kitchen.
And everybody wants to be a star. You know, and I just want to get the job done.
Throw a good party. Exactly.
Everybody wins, we all eat. You don't need to take credit. Credit should show up in your bank account.
Like, thank you. And I mean, you know, just let your actions speak, right?
People pick up on it. The city is small, it's large, but it's a small city. People know what's going on. They know who's interacting with who. Like, you kind of get the sense of who's kind of a stand-up person in a way, in that sort of way.
Yes, you will find out really quickly when money is involved, who you can trust.
So quickly.
I've actually thrown, like, I remember I threw, it was one of my first parties ever with Bija. We did like a boat party, and like one of our partners, I'm like, again, I'm not gonna say names, but like one of our partners, and like they were supposed to contribute, like I think it was like $2,000 or $3,000, just never did, and just showed up to the boat and just played their set, and then just like was like, you know, didn't even say anything about it. And I just had, you know, luckily, like we broke even. So I ended up paying, and then I ended up getting the money back.
But it all worked out in the end, but still, that's...
Be ready for people to just lie to your face. And so they can just get up there and play their set, you know, and they'll just, they'll be like, yeah, man, I've got this crazy sound system you can use. No sound system. I've got all this money that I can give you. No money. Like, you know, so, so that's a big one. People just fucking lie all the time.
Gotta watch out for those. They will.
I always find that as the funniest thing I always found, at least back in the day, is how hard DJs want to play. Like, it's just like you're at a party and they're all just lined up with their USBs. I'm like I'm sure DJing is fun, but don't you want to party? Like, don't you want to party? Like, you know, like, like,
obviously you would say that.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, but like, even after I started DJing, you know, I still like, if somebody can play a set and I can listen to it and enjoy it, I'd rather do that. You know, sometimes I'm the best DJ I know because I play exactly what I want to hear, when I want to hear it, how I want to hear it. But like, if somebody else can do that just as good, if not better, I'd rather do that. You know what I mean?
I feel like I'm swaying into that mentality a lot more, especially your mentality of like, I'm only going to play what I want to play. And I feel like I'm slowly switching.
Yeah, which is why I wouldn't be a club DJ. Like, it's not,
Yeah.
I'm not suited for that.
I'm not so much desperate, so much like you're saying, to play at every party. I don't want to play every party. I don't want to be booked every single weekend to play. I don't want a residency
That's
somewhere.
where I'm at right now. I've really taken a step back.
I'm taking a step back, and I want to enjoy my gigs. I want to show
that's
up
the key.
and like actually
Especially because they're not
have
paying
fun.
career level wages. You might want to just enjoy. Exactly.
They're not paying my bills.
And that's the way I've been, like, I mean, I've stopped getting offers because I've stopped practicing. I've stopped putting myself out there and stuff. But when I was getting offers, because I'm so new and still like fairly uncomfortable with it, I was like, I need this equipment. It's got to be 3,000.
He's got a rider. He comes with his own rider.
It's got to be 3,000 on RX3. If it's not those, I'm just not playing it. And it's not because I'm incapable of playing on 2000s, but I just feel like for me, it's more thinking than I want to do. You know what I mean? It's more like, oh, I'm just not in the moment. I'm battling the equipment. You know what I mean?
This is something Gellert taught me, is everything about the equipment that you don't know is a barrier between
That's
you
right.
and the crowd.
And your expression,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
And
yeah.
also being in the present moment, you know, and being able to feel the crowd, being able to take note
And that's
of all
on
the
me
things.
too, right? Like it's like because I'm not putting in the time to be more comfortable with that other stuff. That's on me, but that's also like again, I'm not.
Yeah,
it's not
exactly. You're doing it for
for
fun.
I'm doing it for fun, so it has to be fun.
I'm doing it for me now, you know.
Oh, that's
Whereas
awesome.
before, I kind of wanted to play all the gigs. I wanted to be booked a lot. You know, I was like any and all opportunities I would say yes to for sure. And now I think I'm just like, well, I really want to play like destination.
Well, maybe that's how you learn
gigs.
what you want too, right?
That too.
Like exactly,
Yeah.
like the way you did it. I have a lot of respect for that because you went out there and you're just like, I'm just gonna do it.
I'm gonna just
I'm just gonna fucking do it.
I've been so proud of you.
Yeah, me too.
you.
And it's just like I'm just like, that is like you just learned 2 weeks ago and you're already playing in front of people and like not only just you, like people.
Oh, I was motivated.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
wanted to do it so badly.
People are like, yeah, go ahead, and then you do it, and it's like. Yeah. Okay. Now the next one.
Yeah.
Now the next one. Now the next
one.
one. You know. So it's just like there's something huge to that.
Great.
It's,
I think that's what everybody should do for sure.
For sure.
I feel like
there's
I've gotten through that phase a little bit now.
You need to. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's,
you've learned, like you said, you now know what you want.
Yes.
And you had to do that to get there. I think.
I think everybody goes through that. Yeah. How are you feeling about your DJing?
Oh man. I mean, I think I'm better than I've ever been. But I mean, hopefully, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, we're linear beings. You hope that you're better at the end.
We always want to go this way, not this way. Yeah.
But, you know, I don't really accept as many gigs nowadays. And I'll be perfectly honest, like nobody wants to book me anymore. And
why do you think that's the case?
Oh, I have no idea. I mean, probably because I'm not like, so this is a really boring reason, but like my job requires me.
Oh yeah, to work weekends.
Yeah. Because that's when I get overtime. So it's crazy for me to accept like $150 DJ
for sure.
gig.
Yeah. It really has to be something special.
And it also means I can't really go out partying very often. Yeah. So a lot of the gigs you get as a DJ is because you are schmoozing, you know?
You're there in the right place because you know the right person.
We've talked about that a lot. Like if you want to, especially when you're starting out,
opportunities.
which is not the case for you, but if you want to get into the scene, you have to show up.
Yeah, it's networking, and you know, like let's be real, like I'm like you could book me and I'll do the best job I can, and I'm sure like there's a bunch of parties where I would slay it and I'd be appropriate for the lineup. But there's also like all these other people who want it so much more than me.
Yes, they're in that wanting phase.
Exactly. And you know, like they should go get it.
Yeah.
You know, and
have that opportunity, give that opportunity to them.
Yeah, and I mean I basically have 4 jobs, you know, like if you count DJing as a job, then I've got like 4 jobs, and one of them is a full-time job. Like I'm a longshoreman. Just for people who don't know what that is.
The real life. We hardly ever talk about it. But.
Yeah, I work at the ports. If you see those big orange cranes, I work under those all the time, and it's very time consuming. It's a lot of work and balancing. You need to be
mentally sharp. You can't be out partying the night before.
That's a big one,
sure.
and they drug test us all. You get drug tests all the time. So you know, I like that job, and it allows me to create denizens and to take a shot at my dream.
Yeah.
And so I had to choose something to like sacrifice. And you know, that was a really difficult situation for me because during the pandemic, I dug so deep into producing music, and I got really good at it, and I was loving it, and so. The application process for the port, it was 3 years long. And in those 3 years, I just produced every day. And then I got called for work. And I started working at the port, and it was pretty slow. And then I started getting more work. And as the years went on, and it got to the point where I had to decide, okay, like, are you going to be a music producer? Are you going to be like the event coordinator, like denizens guy, like entrepreneur? Are you going to be the longshoreman, like art, like DJ? Like, what are you going to be? Because I can't do all of them.
You can't do them all, yeah.
If you tried to do it all, you'd do everything poorly. You got to choose.
Exactly. So I realized that, you know, what I wanted to be the one making the parties. I wanted to be the one mentoring the next generation of DJs. I wanted to be, you know, and like, I'll be perfectly honest, like part of the attraction of that was having income. from it, you know, like,
for sure.
yeah. And also like, I'm a homebody, like, you know, my favorite thing to do is playing Dungeons and Dragons. And I love just being at my house, like rolling my little dice and like, you know, playing with my little like nerd toys. And the idea of being a world famous DJ and touring, like I think a lot of people don't understand what that lifestyle is like.
Oh, it's rigorous.
It's
oh my God.
fucked. Like I want to go to the gym like 3-4 days a week on my schedule. I want to eat like from my organic grocer. I want to sleep in my like nice bed. I want to play Dungeons and Dragons with my girlfriend on Sunday. You know, like I don't want to be traveling 200 days of the year. You know,
very zero appeal to that to me.
You could never convince me to do that.
No.
You could book me at the biggest festivals in the world all year round, and I would say no. Yeah, because I understand the value of what I have here.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's how I feel.
I mean, if I ever was like, which I'm never going to be, I'm just thinking hypothetically, if I was ever like to the point where people wanted me to tour, I'd be like, it's one show a week.
Yeah. You know? Well, I mean,
stressful.
but that's the problem though, is like you have traveled all the way to the city.
Yeah, you might as well go to the next one.
You can't do one show a week. You have to do 2 shows in that city or 3 shows in that city, and then and then
the surrounding area.
And where do you work out? Where do you get like what are you eating?
Yeah.
You know, like I cook my own food. I have a garden. I fucking cook from the garden in the summer. Like we literally just make salads every day from the garden. You know, you will like unless you are a freaking like robot, you or you have the money to like to really make that happen. You are gonna get so unhealthy.
Absolutely. Happens all the time.
You're gonna get stressed out. You're gonna get addicted to drugs.
And then you're alone so much of the time too. And which is great if you like to be alone, but like no, you are alone.
Well, you're alone, but you don't have any privacy because you got your manager there. You got the tour people, like all this stuff. It's just like
the dichotomy of like being alone in your hotel room, then going out to the stage. Thousands of people are screaming your name, and then you go back to that. Like I've heard that just like really takes a toll on people.
And then also like good luck having a relationship.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh my gosh.
And I mean, you know, all the successful like DJs we know, how many of them have you seen? I need a social media break.
For sure.
Oh.
How many times a year?
Chris did that right
Every
before
time that happens,
Yeah.
it's because they are being overwhelmed.
Yes.
Yeah. Because they're humans.
Yeah.
And this is not how a fucking person is supposed to live.
Yeah.
It seems glamorous.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
There's so much hidden things.
There's only so far all that attention will get you as far as your mental health is concerned.
And let's be clear, like we're talking about the DJs who are getting paid like $1,500 Canadian to like $2,500 Canadian per booking. You know, and some of them love it. They're like, this is exactly what I want to do.
Yeah.
If you're Tiesto, none of that applies.
No, of course, because you're flying private or
you're balling,
bus or whatever. And
you're fucking balling.
Your family, you've got your managers, you've got all the things at your disposal that make it comfortable.
Yes, like you can hire, you can bring your personal trainer on.
For sure.
He's coming with you.
Yeah.
That and the dog too, you know?
Yeah. So that's a whole different thing. So it's figure out what you want to do and like just like really
focus.
Be authentic, be truthful with yourself too, because that life does seem really glamorous. It you know, there's ways that you can do it sustainably for the most part. I think that's something that I would like to do.
You can totally do it.
Definitely.
There's lots of people who make it look easy. You know, but I would fucking fall apart. I would miss my girlfriend and my family, and you know, like I would miss all you guys and my city and looking at the mountains every day. You know, I would miss it.
To be here.
And I want to just say one thing. This is just a little tip for anybody who's a DJ. Is like
we'll take all the tips we can get here.
Time marker.
About the producing. I am so glad that I dived into producing and like really gave it my all, and I have zero regrets about, you know, like I'll probably still make some music again when I have some fucking time. But sorry, I keep cussing. But
we're cussy podcast for sure.
We're fabulous. But so I am so glad I did that. And even if I never make another track again, which is, I'm definitely going to make another track again. But that made me a way better DJ. I could never have gotten those skills anywhere else. When you understand how the music is made, holy shit. It changes everything.
Oh,
that's
different level.
massive.
Next level. And also it takes you places. That is how you move your career forward. For someone who is frustrated or stuck, like that is one way to get out.
It can be. It depends. Like, I mean, I know people who are like pumping out more tracks a year than you'll making your life than you'll listen to, in your life, and they are getting zero traction. And it's a very fickle industry. I mean, just influencing is just it's such a like a mathematical like precision game of like, I need to boost this, I need to post at this time, I need to hit this audience, I need to look this way, and like that's a whole other thing.
Is my sound relevant for the time?
Like
if brand and market yourself.
TikTok DJ is a 100% viable route. And every route is viable. And for me, it's like I can respect anyone as long as, like I was saying earlier, they like stay on earth with the rest of us and stay humble.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The moment
you're not better than anybody else.
The moment you start thinking you're better, you can you can shove it.
They'll take a different exit.
Yeah, that'll burn your career down pretty quick.
Oh, for sure. And people can sense it. They can see it. You know, this whole art form and everything with DJ is all about feeling. And if you feel that from something, like you will pick that up for sure.
I like what you just said, and it reminds me of something one of my really close friends, Maya, said to me one time. Actually, two people have said this to me. Another person I know, Jane, said this to me, and they were like, when a DJ plays, they were like, you get to know them because maybe they're feeling a certain way that or feeling a certain way that day or that night, or maybe that year has been really hard and they've just been downloading really like dark emotional music, or maybe they're just killing and they're loving their life, like and also we all process emotions differently. Like my version of happiness is different than your version and your version.
Of course.
And like when you get to go hear a DJ who is like authentic to themselves, like doing the work, knows what type of DJ they want to be, and they are just up there just pouring their heart out, you get to experience how another person experiences emotions vicariously through their music.
If they're
is
doing
that
the right
job.
Like,
do you get me? Like, am I getting a little too?
No, this is exactly what we talk about. This is what we talk about when we talk about the journey, the story. Like, there's a lot of DJs that just go up there and play tracks.
Or they play to the crowd, which is fine, but then there's that other
like
when
a DJ is doing it right, they're taking you on their journey.
Yes.
I was that DJ for a long time, the guy who just like played like very generic, like gangster, like growly, like vocal tech house for like 3 hours at Gorgamish, and I didn't understand why it wasn't working. And and Graham, I remember I would play and I would be like, how did I do? And Graham would be like, never do that again.
And you're like, do what?
And I would be and I would say what, and he would be like, you'll figure it out. And he wouldn't actually tell me, and it took me years to figure out that like I needed to and this is such a like big important thing that we start doing this in high school, is we attach our ego and our personality and our image to a genre. You remember like the genre wars in high school? Like,
for sure.
We don't hang out with the punk kids. Like,
for sure.
Yeah, they're dirty.
Absolutely.
Like, like whatever. Like, they smoke cigarettes in the batting cage. Like, that was me.
I mean, honestly, like we were just talking to Alia last week, and I was like, it's like, hip hop and R&B was like all I listened to, and it was just exactly that. Like he's trying to drag me into the dance music scene in our 20s. And I was like not having any of it. You know what I mean? I guess that's a lot of that, is that whole like, no, I listen to this, I don't listen to that. You know what I mean?
Stop attaching your ego to a genre.
Absolutely.
It's crazy. You're just
I listen to every friggin' genre almost. Like it's and enjoy so much of all of it.
And when you hear something you don't like, instead of saying this is shit, figure out
I don't like it is different than this is shit for sure.
Figure out what you don't like about it, because this is one of the things I learned through producing is like I can hear a track that like makes me want to leave my body and like crawl out of my own skin because I hate it so much. But if I just stop and I just listen to it, I can go, whoa, that is like a really cool like hat. Like that's super crisp and sexy. I like that. Or like I like this. Or I like how this call and response works, Like just if I like one freaking thing about a track,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
I've learned something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, instead of just like dismissing it.
The whole song entirely.
Yeah, or dismissing a whole genre. People do that.
Oh, so quickly.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Well, I don't listen to hardstyle, but otherwise.
Actually, fuck hardstyle. No, I'm just kidding.
You know,
No, but there's people out there who really enjoy it, and there's a reason for
I
that.
felt that way for a while, and I remember it was like, I think it was again during the lockdown. I was at a rave. It was a bush rave, and Mazu, Stephanie, she was there, and like we've been friends for years, and I think like whoever she was with was asleep, and whoever I was with was asleep, and it was just like fucking hard style, and I didn't know what to do, and then Stephanie found me, and she was like, "Yo, like let's fucking go," and I just danced to hardstyle for like 6 hours, and I loved it, and you know,
6 hours. No wonder why you're so skinny now.
That's a great workout.
It's the stress, actually. But
Well, I used to shit on Psytrance a lot, and then I went and I was at Electric Love when they were still at.
I know what you're talking about.
That one, and there was like this at the last night. This
Kashi and Pete used to do that.
And I was like, this is. Or Psytrance, and I was like, "This is awesome." Like, it was very progressive.
That acid bass line comes in, and you're just like, "I get it."
Exactly. I get it now. Well,
sure.
it's like you find somebody who really enjoys it, and you learn about the genre from them too. Because like maybe you don't know how to dance to it, but somebody on the dance floor is just like grooving away. You're like, maybe I'll try to emulate that, and like see if, because your happiness and my happiness are totally different, but like still we can meet in the middle somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It really, I'm just having this weird memory. Like when I was 12 years old, my youngest brother, like he was born like very premature, and he basically just didn't leave the hospital for like, I think like 3 years.
Crazy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so it was a hard time. My parents basically just gave me a bus pass when I was 12, and they were like, you know, like we'll drive you to school and we'll do all this stuff, but you're gonna have to get yourself around. So like, here's a bus pass. And there was this place in Langley called Endoplasmic Studios, and it was this like awful, shitty like recording studio with like a venue space behind a Wendy's in Cloverdale. And I would just go there like twice a weekend from the time I was like 12 to like 16 or 17. I think I had my first kiss in the parking lot there.
Oh, wow.
I actually have a signed
formative years.
I have a signed picture from the girl I had my first kiss with.
Oh my god, that's iconic. What?
Yeah, and I would just
so cute.
Yeah, I would just go there like as a little kid and just listen to like, you know, like screamo and like metal and just like every weekend, and I don't know why.
That sounds awesome.
That was also a really formative part of my experience.
Yeah.
I don't know why I just thought of that.
Yeah.
But my parents were like super cool that way. I feel like they were just so overwhelmed they couldn't keep track of me.
Yeah.
And I was a psycho.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was
Oh, you broke your back 3 times by the time you're 18.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a learning disability at best.
Yeah.
That's gonna inform some years for sure.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride, man.
Yeah.
And no, just I like never give up on yourself. You know, I used to fucking just hate myself so much. I saw no value in the human that I was, and I just didn't. I just did not want to be on this planet.
Yeah, and when you feel that way, you don't invest in yourself, which means you're also going to still continue to feel shitty because it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Yeah,
and
all that shit.
I'm 8 years into therapy, and like, you know, I'm 33 years old. I'm going to be 34 in June, and I just started enjoying my life. You know, I just started to like it. Yeah.
Well, to be honest, you know, I started working on myself when I was 30. And I don't think I experienced real happiness until I was like 31.
It's never too late.
Like real, like, oh, I'm just happy with who I am in this moment for no reason. Like I realized it going to work on a Monday, going into the elevator
that happens
in a job I didn't like.
And
I was like, wait, I'm actually happy for the first time. For no fucking reason. That's what real happiness is. Not like because you did something cool or somebody said something nice to you or whatever. You beat somebody at something, like some hockey or whatever your fucking thing that you're into. No, like when you could just be like, oh, I feel good for literally no reason. That's when you know you've actually figured it out a little bit.
Dude, that happens to me. Like I'll be at work and then like, you know, I'm like on a freaking like rusted out like Chinese like container ship that's just like falling apart, and there's like bird shit everywhere, and I'm like sweating my ass off, and I'm like just like, but I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like,
life's
and,
good.
and you know what my therapist taught me was like happiness is it's a temporary thing, like it's a fleeting thing. It's like the cherry, you know. It's like, oh, like I get to eat the cherry on top, but there's only one of them, you know. Like it happens every once in a while. What you're describing, I think, is joyfulness, and joyfulness is my life is, you know, it is what it is, but I'm content. I'm okay with being here, and you know, happiness is a thing that I think a lot of people chase, and they don't realize that the joyfulness is accessible all the time. Yeah,
You have to cultivate that.
It's always there.
Yeah, and you have to learn how to feel it too.
Yes.
Because,
and allow yourself.
Oh, that's a big one.
Yeah. Like I'm a piece of shit. I don't deserve to feel
Then
to
you're
feel
blocking
good.
all that, which comes so much more of the stress, the anxiety, the depression, everything like that, because you're not listening to yourself.
It's a constant battle. Like when I get stressed out, like the self degrading talk.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
it's a huge problem of mine is shitting on myself.
Yeah, I'm like, fuck, I'm such an idiot. Like, oh, like, you know.
Yeah.
My girlfriend's like, babe, like you're killing it.
Yeah,
like you're
doing great.
Yeah, she's like, just, and I'm like, no, I'm like inconsolable. Yeah, it's not funny. Like it's bad. Yeah,
it's a real thing.
And the thing is that the things that I've heard is that like the problem is that your brain listens to you.
Yes, you teach yourself.
Yes,
really
so
does.
the more you say it, the worse it is. So you have to, like, it's a big battle of mine. I'm terrible at it. But you know, I logically know that I need to be better at it. But I'm shitting on myself right now.
Yeah,
I'm really bad at not shitting on myself.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, it's something I'm really terrible at. I need to get better at, and I think we all need to realize how impactful that negative speech really is. Even if you're trying to say it in a way that's like self-deprecating for humor, you have to be careful how much you do that.
There's truth. There's truth.
Yeah. So you know,
quickly.
it's okay to do that in doses. Yeah. But like if it's like a big part of your identity, which for me it is, unfortunately, right now.
Yeah. I feel you, brother.
Like most of my humor too is self-deprecation.
Yeah.
You know, I'll
We all
just go
do
there.
it.
I go there so quickly and so easily. I've got all the jokes lined up, you know, ready to go. But then I'm like, wait, I just hung myself out to dry here. Like, then I walk away from that experience being like, oh, well, maybe I am a piece of shit.
No, yeah. And you know, I can only speak from. This is something that I think is like, it's a thing, and I can only speak from the male point of view because I'm a man. I've been a man my whole life, and you know, one thing about being a man is not a lot of people take time to say nice things about you. Yeah, you're just expected to just operate at peak efficiency,
do your thing,
and just be like you know, because like you don't need to hear
that
you're looking nice
too.
that day. Yeah, like one reason that I take such good care of my hair and I like keep it so long is because people always compliment me on it, and it makes me feel good. So like, you know, I put a lot of effort into keeping my hair nice because I get compliments for it. And it's very rare. And this actually reminds me of what we were talking about earlier about people being hungry for gigs. Dude, girl, dude, us, people, humans, whatever we are. I think that a lot of, and like again, I can only speak from the male perspective. I think a lot of the men I know and myself, we are or were or whatever, so hungry and so thirsty for those DJ gigs because it's like the only time in your life where people actually give a shit about you and say something nice about you.
Sure, yeah.
Really
and don't want something from you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Or they've already gotten it.
Yeah.
The joy you gave
Yeah,
them.
like when you see a lot of those guys, like even if they're toxic as shit and they're like lined up with their USB, like, dude, they're chasing this feeling that nobody gives them.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I do want to throw one other thing in there from almost the female perspective, and I heard this on a podcast.
Please do.
So it's not my original thought, but I think one of the reasons that girl DJs are shit on so often is because the guys who are lining up to be that position of power and have that, they see the girl doing it and they're like, well, fuck, if she could do it, I can do it. You know, and they shit on the girls twice as hard because they're like, well, I should be able to do that. that should be me up there. I should be up,
Agreed.
Or maybe it's like, don't you get enough attention already? Why do you need this?
You get the compliments.
That very like
already.
sexist, There's a lot of sexist bullshit that goes on in our industry.
There is.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
Yeah, it's a lot of it, and it's very easy to get canceled. It's very dangerous for a lot of people to just speak their mind. But I feel like most people know what's going on.
The smart people, the people who are with it and attentive, they're great.
Yeah.
But it's like the loudest people.
We're
in the
lucky
room.
we have a lot of those people too. In our particular community.
Oh, for sure. I think we're pretty conscious about getting girls on lineups and getting the girl producers out there. But it's still like 75% of men,
pockets,
and then the 25% of girls.
You know what?
It is what it is, though.
I mean, in Vancouver, there are just more male DJs. And they're like, and at the end of the day, like, we like representation is so important, and I definitely agree that like it's terrible when you're only seeing one, like just men on lineups, and
you got the token girl. You're like,
dude, some of the most inspiring, like Nagar is a great example, but like some of the best DJs I know are women. And but at the end of the day, like, I'm sorry, but I'm never gonna book anybody for anything other than they're going to do the job right.
That's right.
Merit-based.
100%.
And
if everything should be a meritocracy.
And if anybody disagrees with that, I like respect that, but I don't fucking care. Because I'm sorry, but like
I think that's where we should be though. I think that's the true equality.
Exactly.
That's true equality, is that you represent what I need or what I want to hear. And I don't care what your gender is. I don't care if you've got no head. If you could fucking play the music I want to hear, fucking do it.
Headless?
And
all for it.
And like when I'm booking,
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many of my like male friends or buddies or like close friends or whatever are DJs, or they want to be DJs, and you know they want me to book them. If a female DJ that I know will do a better job or is more interesting or is working harder or whatever, I don't give a shit if that guy is my friend or like whatever. I'm booking her.
Cream rises to the top.
You know, and it goes both ways. That is the bottom line.
It goes both ways.
And I mean, obviously we can, you know, I do some bookings where I know that person is not the best choice, but I do it because I'm trying to encourage them to, you know, I'm trying to coach them, I'm trying to mentor them, I'm trying to say, hey, here's a little taste. You know, you've earned this.
You can do it. There's
show
more
me,
of that.
Like, earn it more. Like, show me that I'm not just giving this to you. You know, so there are times where you want to give people sets for that reason.
You want to give people chances and let them rise to the occasion and allow them to have that space.
Sometimes there'd be no other way for them to get an opportunity. So
100%.
And
you're not gonna give them like, here, the whole show's riding on you. Go prove it. No, it's not gonna be that kind of situation.
And you know, I think the all girl lineup is great. I really like the all girl lineup. I love when you can just get I know me coming up in the DJ scene, like it was all men. And so now it's like getting to see a bunch of like women just fucking run the club and just like crush it. It's fucking so great.
I love that.
But it has to make sense from a booking perspective.
For sure.
So
I'm excited to see more girls. I want more girls to get out and
I agree.
do all that sort of thing.
I think it's getting there. I think it's getting there.
Even with like Lychee's a brand new DJ, seeing her on lineups. Because
the thing with, there's a lot of parallels between the music industry and photography. You know, for me, you know, with one of the things that is very appealing to both of those is that it's a technology gadget based thing. And guys are gadgety.
They're just
people.
We're pretty nerdy.
We're very nerdy.
We like to twist
sometimes we get into things because of the gadget first and then develop the skill after. Whereas girls, like I know a lot of female photographers, especially when they first started, that don't know how to use a camera, can run circles around guys in photography. You know, and it's just it's not because they're gadget people. They are looking at it as an artist. You know, and that's the female mindset. A lot of the times will come at it art first, then figure out the gadget. Whereas guys will be gadget first, figure out the art. You know, so
I totally agree
so
with that.
you both ways can get to the same place, but it's sometimes that's the thing that stops girls is they don't want to do the gadget thing. And if it's a gadget predominant thing, especially with photography, like learning how to use a camera is a lot more complicated than learning how to use DJ gear.
Yeah, it's
learning
wild.
how to do both.
So crazy.
Photography
knowing
is
how to
wild.
do both, I can tell you for sure photography is harder.
Way more difficult.
So
Yeah,
hard.
But it's not impossible by any stretch.
No.
So there's a lot of information online. You just got to go through it. So it's both things are very accessible, and then if you have the talent and the artistic mind, you can really
drive, motivation, that too.
And we all just have different aptitude, but it actually makes me think of a really funny statistic. I'm probably going to butcher like the timeline here, but I think if I remember correctly, I think women were not allowed to join the Air Force and be fighter pilots until like 1976 or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
and that was not that long ago.
No, or like even getting credit cards, you know, that sort of thing.
And it's interesting because statistically, women are now, like, because we've had the time to collect these statistics and whatnot, dude, they are way better fighter pilots than men, way better astronauts than men. Like, it's so interesting how, we, like there was this gate for so long, and we were actually denying our society,
of course,
the best person for the job. So
just based on gender alone.
Yeah. So I mean, I definitely think everybody has an aptitude, you know, and you should definitely try to like water like your aptitude, like water those seeds. You know, don't try to like dig up your garden and plant a whole new one. Like figure out what you're good at. But I know I am not good at technology, but I am surrounded by so much technology. It's crazy. You're also like one of the most personable, like collected, like professional.
Well, how she got me to do the podcast was conning me into the technology side. That was her angle, at least, anyway. And I was
I'll say it quickly because a pod has heard it before, but I basically was like, okay, I want to do a podcast. I was like, what am I good at? What do I love? Okay, the industry, the scene, perfect. Who's can help me with like the industry and scene and also the technology? I was like,
and also fits your vibe and your aesthetic. You
Yeah,
guys are like,
right?
you know, like
yin and yang. So then I approached him. I was like, oh, and I know he's gonna say no to whatever I ask him first. So I said, would you like to be my cameraman or camera operator for my podcast? He goes, no. I was like, perfect. So you're my co-host. He's like, an upgrade. Okay.
Yeah, Mazen loves that.
I was like, the first one you can't afford me. With the second one, like, now we're talking.
But I knew he would say no to anything. But I was persistent, like your business partner was, and I was like, no.
Yeah, and just from my experience in this chair, you both bring so much to this.
It's where the puzzle pieces match.
Yeah, you like play off of each other.
Yeah,
very well.
for sure.
And I really appreciate your like openness on this subject because a lot of people don't want to touch this subject at all. You know, and you know what? We're all different, and that it's okay, everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Like just just calm the fuck down. Like
it's really not that serious.
Difference is good. That's the point of these progressive movements. Different is good.
Yeah, exactly.
You're missing the point if you don't think that way.
But also like, you know, free to your opinions.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody is, and that's why we love to have a podcast, have you on, provide your opinion.
Yeah, man. Like one of the best things about raves is it's a melting pot. You know, at Denizens, like we have this like group of clientele that are like they're probably in their like 50s to 60s, and they're all like really well-to-do realtors. I have no idea how they came to Denizens, but
how they stumbled into your
party. They fucking love it. I love talking to them. They're like super kind and interesting, and they've had so much life experience. And I remember talking to this one woman, and you know, she's obviously killing it as a realtor. And she reminded me kind of like of one of my aunts, and she was just like, you know, she was like, we just got sick of hanging out with old people. She was like, but she's like, a lot of young people don't really hang out in nice places, and she was like, this is it.
This is it.
She was like, it's nice, and there's young people here, and I could just be myself. And I was like, and you know, Denizens, I'll be honest, like denizens, I got it because I read a lot of fantasy novels. So like, you know, in fantasy novels, like they'll be like the denizens of the deep, like came, you know, and
this cool mysterious race.
Yeah.
So like,
But what denizens, it's like an old like British word, and it basically means like a local or like an inhabitant of a specific space. And so when you come to one of our parties, you become a denizen. And you know, our motto is like, we are all denizens. And you know, I really, a big part of like my passion with that project is just like everybody just calm down and just dance and talk to each other. Like Jesus, you know? Like,
we are all like,
Jesus.
I don't want to say,
like,
I don't really want to say we're normal, but like you can fit in.
Yeah.
You do have a spot. You do have a place.
I mean, I think it's normal not to be normal. You know, we're all fucking weird. Like, you know, when people I think have this impression of me that I'm like this like cool, like slick, like dude who like, you know, but like honestly, like I spend most of my time like reading about like elves and shit, you know, and like writing little stories about them, you know, and like that's actually like since I stopped producing, I needed to like, I am so committed to creation for the sake of creation. Okay, just making art for them, and I do it every day.
So missed.
Every single day I make art. And when I stopped producing, I was like, what am I gonna do? And honestly, I just started writing like stories about like hobbits and shit. And that's how I express myself now. And I know that's a weird thing. I'm sure a lot of people, if they heard that, they would be like, what?
Interesting.
Yeah, they'd be like, "Are you serious?" Yeah, they're like, "I thought you were like some like that's for nerds. That's for losers, you know." And that's like, actually, it's awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
Like we're all awesome for our weird little differences, you know. And it makes me think of like kinks, you know, like everyone else's kink is weird except yours,
right?
You know,
and
it's
accepted.
Totally.
Oh, that's interesting.
But it's like, you know. It like you're fucking weird. You know? Everybody's fucking weird.
Everybody has a little weird.
I'm weird.
Vein.
Fucking.
Oh, I'm so strange.
So there you go. Yeah, but that's
you
the whole thing.
lived
You just
up
gotta be
here,
like,
oh my
you just
God.
gotta be like, instead of saying everybody else is weird, be like, they're normal, I'm weird. And then it's more accepting.
And like, let's be real, man. Like that, like, you know, that's the heart of dance music. Like, you know, you think back to where it all started, and I mean, I've watched so many documentaries and read so much about dance music, and I'm still like not 100% sure where it started, because a lot of people like to claim that they're like the first, you know. But I mean,
like also every city has their claim to fame too. Of like, this is the first here. This
Detroit and Chicago. Exactly.
But we're the originals. You know, everybody has that.
But I mean, we all know what it's about. And the heart is like togetherness, like acceptance, you know, tearing down like self-acceptance, accepting other people, like tearing down the illusion that we have been like sold from this like insane system we live in, you know, like
the separation,
dude, like
getting rid of that,
you know. I don't want to go too hard, but like we live in a weird world right now.
But this brings us full circle to talking about Shambhala again, because that's if from my first time being at Shambhala, and I'd probably surmise that it's your first time, is you just realize that's exactly what that represented. And it's like, you know, the way I felt when I went there, and I wasn't even looking for it, is that everybody there was madly in love with me, and they didn't even know who the fuck I was. And then you could be a janitor, a lawyer, a CEO, a homeless person,
anything,
a student,
any walk of life,
and you'd all be partying at the same time together, and you didn't care about any of those things.
And having the best or the worst moment of your life.
And everything is okay to experience, to absorb, to breathe, to.
I mean, not to get on too much of a rant here, but this also comes back to my whole point of music festivals being a religious experience. You know, a lot of what religion was trying to do is to bring people together.
That's so funny.
And we are all equal under the eyes of God, whatever, all that nonsense. You know, and like that was the point, is that we're all the same. We're all equal status. You know, and I think what we experience at music festivals and with electronic music, because music is a universal language, it's all energy, it's all frequency, it's all that stuff, you know. So, you know, it's a way that we can all resonate at the same time, in the same way, in the same place,
same vibrations,
and be what we are, a combination of energy and frequencies.
Yeah, I agree.
In different forms.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was beautifully said. Yeah. And for years, actually, I've been calling Gorgamish the temple. Like that's my nickname for it. And yeah, man, like we just dish out sermons there. You know,
that's exactly it.
That's what we do. And like you know, it's funny, like in Dungeons and Dragons, like you can be a cleric, and a cleric like channels the power of their god. And like you know, the DJ is just like, let's be real, DJs have nothing to do with gods.
For sure.
But what you're doing is like you're channeling
energy.
You're channeling energy, and you're like, really what you're doing is you're giving people a space where they can like open, you know, and you're and like, you know, those vibrations you're sending out. Those I sound like such a fucking hippie right now.
No,
like,
but it's real though.
Yeah,
I mean,
but it's real.
It's
fucking
very
real,
real.
man. Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm the last person, like, you know, like if you start burning sage next to me, I'll just be like, stop. You know, like,
My Palo Santo.
I'm not
sitting
into.
over there somewhere.
I am the most secular person, you know. But it's real.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that is what God in Christianity, Christianity is kind of. He is a guide. He is the shepherd, and we are all the sheep.
I grew up Christian, and I still use a lot of those lessons. Yeah, actually, I went to like a Christian school for like a long time. Until I was asked to leave, and I loved reading the Bible, and I loved like reading these stories and parables, and and
because I mean that's what they are at the end of the day, and like that is very equivalent to what DJing is too. Is you're creating a story.
Yes.
You're telling people a narrative. You're bringing along and guiding them through this emotional journey.
And like religion and music, the thing they have in common, community.
Community,
exactly. Because that is what church is all about. It's about having a community who will support you, that you can share your sorrows with, your tough times with, your good times with. You know, like a good church. You know, and just be clear, like I don't believe God exists. Yeah, and I'm not practicing any religion. But a good church is like that's what it feels like. It feels like home.
I think that's the goal. I mean, I mean, it's the purpose. I think that a lot of, including religious people, I think the purpose of religion is, it's especially when you talk about Christianity in the Bible, it's an amalgamation of hundreds of thousands of years of stories passed down through word of mouth. And they're distilled to these stories that are highly digestible lessons about the human condition. Because we are not like, it's very arrogant to think that humans today are insanely smarter than humans of 2000 years.
I think we're probably worse.
Like, all the technology.
That's my point. So just because
so
technology is going like this, evolution's still going like this. So, you know, if you think about it as a moral framework, lessons passed down that just are giving you the framework of what the human condition is. The lessons that can be learned, you know, and again, like, and the whole point of church, again, is to bring people together, bring the community together. And religion is all, you know, I think we're getting really in the weeds here.
I love it.
But the reason why Christianity and monotheistic religion spread like wildfire, especially Christianity though, is that if you look at society before, it was the feudal system. And almost everywhere, I should say, other than like small tribes and stuff like that, there's a caste system. A lot of the world today is a caste system.
Everyone was under a king.
And so you are less than people above you. And the whole idea of Christianity is that we are all equal. We are all equal under the eyes of God. Every person has equal intrinsic value
to the people down here.
Exactly.
So I have a way we can bring this back to DJing.
Oh, let's.
So, and I love everything you just said. And I love that we're doing this. I'm the kind of person where like if I just met you and this my girlfriend constantly like she thinks it's funny. I'll like just meet someone or a friend will be over and I'll be like, how's life? You know, and they'll be like, good, and I'll be like, how's your relationship, or like whatever, and I'll be like, are you happy in your relationship? You know, and they're like, whoa, like no one's asked me that. I fucking hate conversations that aren't going anywhere. But
I really
but bringing this back to dance music, like you know, it's the great equalizer.
That's right. I think because we are society, especially Western society, is so moving away from the traditions of traditional religion. We fill the void with things like you know, our pilgrimage to Mecca is Burning Man now. You know, our holy land is Tulum or Bali. You know, it's like or Germany, whatever. You know,
whatever floats your boat.
But you would know, like, and a lot of it is revolved around music, and as long as it revolved around festivals, and you know, I've said it before and I'll say it again, they are religious experiences by what they are accomplishing and how they are received by human beings.
Well, especially Shambhala, changing lives, and literally.
You know, I gotta admit, there's a bunch of things about modern day DJing and dance culture that I don't know how I feel about necessarily. And one of them is how, and I think a lot of people don't realize this, is DJs were never like at the front of the show before. You know,
it's a recent thing somewhere.
Like for people who don't know, like you know, like for example, Studio 54, like one of the best. Well, I don't know, it depends on your opinion, but Studio 54 was a crazy place,
legendary place.
And a lot of these spaces, pretty much every space back then, and up until like. It's a recent thing where the DJ is the front and center. The DJ would be in a tiny room where they could see the dance floor, but nobody could see them. And everyone would be facing each other. And I think we have lost something.
I think so too.
And that's why I really like at Denizens, the way we set it up is it's the booth, and then there's like, it's like a boiler room kind of, like everyone can go around all over the place, and it really encourages people to just like face each other, you know? And I really think that one thing we are losing is we're putting way too much focus on the artist.
Glorifying them so much.
And I mean, that's our society, you know, like our, you know, social media has really gotten to us to this point where like
it's a consumerism. It's also the sale tactic of it all, you know?
And I mean, so what I do is, because I know I'm going to be in that position, is I just get up there and I do what I described earlier, is I remember that I am a servant, you know, it's not about me. I'm a servant of the dance floor, and I start building trust, and I just try to do the best job I can, and I try to give everyone the best experience I can, and I try to carry the responsibility of being the center of attention by making it about them.
Not you.
And
that's true leadership.
That space for them.
That's true leadership.
That's very much what I do with my Twitch channel now.
I know you do.
I just sit there, I have a hat on, I've got my sweater on. It's not a performance. I'm not making it about me. I'm literally choosing the next track, listening to them, and I'll speak to people and everything like that. But I'm creating a story here. And if you want to be written into the chapters, come on in. You know, we're all welcome.
And I just want to say, like, I personally, I respect that so much. I know especially, like, there's so many people out there who are like using their body to sell their brand or whatever. And, you know, like,
don't get me wrong, it's definitely an asset. I know it is.
Hell yeah, girl.
I'm gonna use it, but also.
And I'm not saying that, and I'm just be clear, like, I'm not saying that that's a negative thing, but getting lost in that is so dangerous. It's so dangerous.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Once you work on that, you get the validation from it. You're like, oh, I want that again.
And then you're like, well, maybe it doesn't matter that I'm authentic. You know, and that's and Leah, like, I know this about you, is that you're a very authentic person.
Thank you.
And I really respect that about you. And a lot of the people in Vancouver who are like doing the Twitch thing or whatever, like, they're doing it really well. They're doing it the right way.
I love the Twitch community from Vancouver, and also I met a lot of people I went to Arizona for like a little bit of a gathering. Some beautiful people host us out there, and there was just Twitch DJs from all over, and the amount that they love Twitch and like love the community and love what we're building.
Connection.
It's so cool to be like talk to somebody, you know, who lives in the other side of the world or the state or whatever it is. And it's like, no, we've got such a common
And
love
some of the
for
most down-to-earth people I've ever met, and it's crazy to think this because you just wouldn't expect it, are people who are literally like a personality. And they are like taking sexy photos every day and have tons of followers, but they've got their shit together and they know who they are. And not everyone is like that. It's pretty rare, I find. But I mean, you know, it's, like, just never, like, get to know people first before you judge them, you know? And then once you figured it out, judge them very harshly.
Then you can judge the shit out of them.
And I know I'm joking, but like, I think a lot of people forget that, like, judgment is not a dirty word. Judging.
Prejudging is a dirty
prejudging is a dirty word.
Yeah.
But judging is how we figure out like what is safe, what is not safe, you know, like like I'm gonna use a really silly example, but like, you know, if you have to jump across like a gap or something, you stop and you judge the distance, you know.
Perfectly
like
acceptable.
so when you judge another person, what you should be doing is you should be going, is this person authentic? Is this person safe to be around? Are they like, should I be vulnerable around this person? I mean, I'm vulnerable around everybody, but like, should I allow them to have some influence over my state of being?
Yeah.
You know, you could be vulnerable and still not allow somebody in, right? But and
I think that harkens a lot back to DJing as well, too.
oh, it all does.
Everything does,
Yeah.
for sure, because when you're up there, when you're on the dance floor and you're like, oh, I hate this DJ.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like this song. Well, wait a second.
Yes.
You know, you're judging it a little bit prematurely maybe sometimes.
And you're allowed to
You know,
hate it.
You're allowed to hate it.
Yeah, you're allowed.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
You're
allowed
never gonna
to
hit 100%.
No.
Yeah.
No,
but,
there's always someone who's like,
fuck this guy.
you've been playing the same song for 2.5 hours, and I'm just like,
Oh, honey. That's the point. No.
like that. I've had the weirdest requests. Like when people make requests for you when you're DJing, it's so funny. Like
Yeah.
I remember I was playing at Gorgamish, and this guy's like, "Yo, you got any Biggie?" I'll never forget this. And I get that all. That's very common. Yeah, but it's what he did after. He was like, he pulled out, like, he must have been very wealthy. He pulled out like $300 bills. You know? And he was like, I'll give you $300 if you play some fucking rap music. And I was like, okay, bro. First of all, like, I wish I had some rap music so I could take your money.
I would take $300 right now.
I actually did, but I was not ready to like destroy the set for that.
Yeah.
I always have a little bit of fun shit on my USB, but
Just start like playing a regular track sample.
exactly,
Like
yeah. But like when I said no, he was like, he looked at me like I was an idiot, and because I was like, I don't have the track, and he was like, YouTube. He was like, what the fuck are you doing? He was like, just use YouTube. And I'm like, dude, these are CDJs.
Yeah.
Do you see internet
You
connection anywhere?
Just to type in.
It's a $3,000 MP3 player.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
Like,
It's a CD.
now there's like Beat
drive.
Source and all this stuff, so I guess
Yeah.
you could do that, but requests are hilarious.
They're so interesting.
they're super
I
funny.
told it on a different podcast, but I got a request for Fred Again.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, oh, sick, I love Fred Again. But I was so annoyed that somebody asked me that I was like, I'm going to not play the stuff that you know.
I play some like remix or
I got my
bootleg or
hands on unreleased music from him.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I went over and I was like, you, come here. I'm like, I don't take requests, but I have unreleased Fred Again, so I really hope you appreciate this. And I played that.
I've actually figured out like the secret move, and I do this every time now when I get a request. Next track. And then they come back. And they're like, when are you gonna play my track? I'm like, oh yeah, it's the next track.
Yeah.
And then like they'll just stay there all night and buy drinks, and I'm just like, yeah, don't worry, it's the next track.
Next
you
track,
know, and
next
I just
track.
say it over and over and over and over. And
I'll fit it in next to the next one.
maybe that's a little cunty, but like, you know, like
man.
Well, so is
I don't know.
requesting tracks is a little cunty too.
I mean, in this day and
The only
age, the
time
parties we're going to...
I think the only time it's safe to request a song is if you are paying the DJ at a wedding.
Yeah, agreed.
At a wedding.
Yes.
And if the person coming up, like I have a pretty good read on people. If the person coming up is just like a naive, like if they're not being a prick, then I'll politely say to them, sorry, I don't take requests.
Yeah.
But if they're like, you know, swinging their dick around, then it's
Yeah.
like, next track.
Biggie guy,
It's like,
And you'll just wait for this one. you
Come
know?
right up.
Yeah.
I think,
Eventually.
I think etiquette is like so important, and like not just dance floor etiquette, but like, and a lot of people don't realize this, but like DJs need to know their etiquette.
Yes, mind your P's and Q's behind the decks.
Yeah, like you know, there's some big ones, man. Like like a really big one is just like, don't leave the next DJ on a banger. You know, I remember I was playing this show, and it was like a Halloween party, and this is a big reason I don't do these anymore. And
Fair enough.
the guy was playing, and he was playing like, I think that it was like 180 BPM, like, you know, like really crazy, like super high energy, like, and I was like, can you bring it down a little bit? And he was like, no problem, bro. And he left me on like a 210 BPM track that there's like no way, you know, and he just did it to like be a prick, right?
Wow. Jesus.
And that is like a huge disrespect to the other artists, but it's also a huge disrespect to the dance floor.
Yeah.
You're basically destroying the night.
Yeah.
And like, you know, like you should, like, if another DJ is coming on, if you want to be respectful, what you do is like you lower the energy to like about mid-level, and then they can choose where they want to go. Right? Yeah. And
otherwise, if you're going up next, you're kind of like, essentially you're forced to be like, let the track play out and be like, give it up for douchebag over here.
Yeah.
Play your song, you know what I mean? Like,
and then put your track in. You're like, fuck, I gotta rebuild this dance floor
but
now.
that's exactly what you have to do. Now you have to rebuild it.
Like we're supposed to be working together, you know. One of the, and it's something that I don't see as much anymore, but it was like years, like this was happening like a while ago at Gorgamish, was like, it was a very tight-knit group of DJs, and every time you would play at Gorg, it was like, you didn't have to worry. Like, you would just talk to the other DJ. You would both decide when the set time was. It was never a fight. It was never like, well, I have something to do tomorrow. It was like, oh yeah, like your vibe is more opening for this set. Sweet. Like, let's make the best night we can. You know, we're committed to after hours. I'm not thinking about tomorrow. You know, if you're gonna take that gig, like, fuck tomorrow. Play the gig. You know, and then you would be like, okay, well, I've been downloading this lately. Like, what are you downloading? Okay, and then you build your sets together. It like, that is so lost now. This
that doesn't happen.
Yeah, and like, it is damaging the experience of people on the dance floor. If you,
I would love to see that come back, like just a little bit more, because I've only had it a couple of times. Where the DJ after me or before me has reached out to me, and I would do that at the beginning of my little career that I've got going on. I would reach out and be like, hey, so what are you playing? And now I don't do that as much, because I'm like, well, I know, I have a feeling.
If you're playing with someone you know,
I
it's
know
different.
them. Yeah, exactly. But if I'm not, then looking them up or something like that.
That's a huge lost piece of etiquette. That's a massive one. Is just like, you know, this thing we do where like we're like, oh, it's my set. You know, it's my time to shine. It's my time to show people these tracks that I downloaded for free off of this pirating site. Like,
DJ
that I didn't make. That like I, you know, like, fuck, man, like, it's.
Oh, I've got a good pet peeve. Starting or like hovering over the decks when you're about to come on next, like 10 or 15 minutes in. And I'm like, I'm so nervous. I'm like, oh God, do I have to get off the decks? And I look at the time, like, I have 10 minutes left.
I'm probably guilty of that. But it's like, I'm trying to support.
No. But like, it's different if you're like hanging out or whatever. But if you've got USB in hand, and you're just like,
I've seen that before.
Like they're hovering over me or something like that. And like, I know what I'm doing.
What about now? Now? What about now?
Transitioning. Oh no, like, can I plug in? No, like, I'm doing my thing.
Another one is like, if it's your like buddy and you guys are super cool, like, you can do this. But like another one is like, oh, I really want to play this one. Like, I know it's your set time. But can I play another track? And then another one, you know? Like that.
It's encroaching on somebody else's set time?
I played a festival with my girlfriend not long ago, and the DJ in front of us did that 4 times. And then the people running the stage had to come up and be like, get the fuck out of here. Like,
so he wanted to come in, play a track.
No, he was still...
I was playing after him. Me and my girlfriend were playing a back-to-back after him. And he was like, I got one more. And we were like, sure. And then he was like, okay, I got another. And he was really drunk. And he was like, okay, another one. And he just kept DJing. You know?
It's like 20 minutes into the set now.
And so like...
that's bullshit.
The closing track that you want to play, play it 10 minutes or 20 minutes before your set ends. You know, make like the last tracks you play should not be the finale of your set. And I'm totally guilty of this. Sometimes I don't plan properly. But like the last track of the last track should be a transitional track. It should be like no vocals, like stripped down, like just let the other DJ come in and then figure out what they want to do. Right?
Please, let's do that.
Yeah.
No, I love that. That's the way I structure all of my sets too. And also a good way to kind of, practice your set too is like a huge thing.
That's a big one.
Because I play on Twitch so much and I do it for 3 hours. I can look at the clock and know exactly where I am in my set time. I'm sure it's very predictable to the people out there watching my sets all the time, but I'm like,
it's actually really impressive.
2 hours, 45 minutes. I know exactly what I'm going to be playing.
That's so impressive. I cannot do that.
And then at 3 hours, but you can calculate in your head, okay, this will be 5 minutes, probably going to transition out at 2
Okay,
minutes,
yeah, I know what you
something
mean.
like that.
I can't I can't do like I know what 2 hours and 45 minute track is going to be, but I know like I'm thinking 3 to 4 tracks ahead, and I know how long it's going to take.
I've done it both ways. So I've done sets where I just have a general idea of where I want it to go. I've done sets where I will literally be like, this is the track I want to start with, and go from there. And I've literally done sets where I've planned the whole set.
Yes, me too. Yeah,
all of us. And I've done all of those, and I think you can have success in all of those.
Yes.
Oh yeah, they're all valid.
But planning the set from start to finish, if it's really good, is probably the best way to create the best set. Maybe not a best club set, but like if you're like trying to release a set, like as a piece of work, then that's where I think I've had the best success. Like,
that's the art form.
Yeah. You said it, and I was actually going to say like, so a lot of the major festivals, it's a pre-recorded set. Nobody is mixing. They have to time everything with the lights. So that's an example where you're like, okay, like I'm gonna craft this beautiful set. But if you're like doing a 3-hour gig at Gorgamish, and you come with like I know every track I'm gonna play in a row, that's a bad.
You gotta be adaptable.
Messed up.
Versatility. If you want to be a club DJ, especially for like a club that is very diverse, because some clubs, it's like this is what we play. But if
like
you want
techno.
Harder
the better.
Yeah.
Much.
They've been crushing it.
Love them.
If you play a place that's very diverse, it is your duty to be versatile. That's another thing a lot of DJs don't understand is like
know to your place.
If you're gonna show up and be like, well, this is what I play, so like you need to book me for this set time because I can only play that set. Like fuck off. Like
you should be versatile.
Yeah, exactly.
Until you're being booked for that particular thing.
If you want to do the jobs, bring the tools to do the jobs.
That's right. That's a good way to put it.
Don't show up with your like play school hammer.
No.
Sorry. And you're trying to fix things that require screws. You got your hammer. And that's this is what I do. I just hammer.
I only play bangers because that's what people want.
No. You've missed the whole point.
That's another one is this is a big one, man. Is a lot of DJs who like are coming up and want to play Gorgamish. They'll like ask me for advice, and it's amazing how I will give them the best advice and they will take none of it.
Right.
And and some of them do, but like one of the best pieces of advice is like, don't be afraid to like lower the energy, man. Like, a lot of DJs have this fear. It's a fear where you're like, if I don't play really exciting, because they're all happy right now. If I take the energy down, they're gonna leave. But
no, that's not the case.
It's 6 a.m. Everyone has been partying since 10 p.m. They're getting fatigued, and you actually get ear fatigue, from just this banging set. And like, everyone needs to just chill, take a stretch break, look at the people around them.
Go get a drink.
Yeah, exactly.
Go pee.
And like, I started doing that, and I was like, whoa, this really works. And now I do this thing when I play Gorg where I will bring the energy so low. It's like, it's like, I see other DJs looking at me, and I've actually had like, I remember I was playing one night and like Geller came up to me and he was like, bro, do you want some feedback? And I was like, always. And he was like, dude, this is way too low, and I was like, dude, I have a plan, and the whole thing is like, you need to take it away from them, and then and if you have built trust and you have done your job,
that's the key thing, is to build trust.
And you have, they will stay. And if you have got to know everybody, it's like foreplay. It's like edging. Like it's sex, man. Like you just fucking play with them and just tingle them and like take them so low, and everybody's like, has this guy lost his mind? And then you just drop some fucking fire and you start build. You don't go right there, but you start building up. People get excited, and it's like that massive like release that they had earlier where everybody was freaking out. It's back, but it's like it's the next orgasm because
it's
hitting
even
harder.
They've recouped all that energy that they were waiting, boop, 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 and then you're able to
write that down, kids.
topple them home.
You can't just fuck for 8 hours. You have to take some breaks.
For sure.
Towel break.
Sorry, I'm being weird. But
No, I love that.
This is how I think about dance.
These are lessons.
This is absolutely the stuff that people need to know.
It's hot in here too.
Yeah, it's getting sweaty.
Yeah, we're all very sweaty.
Well, on that bombshell.
Oh my goodness. Speaking of, parting words, parting advice, leave it all here. Anything else that you want to say to the city?
Give us the plugs on the things that are coming up right now.
Absolutely. So, I mean, the big thing I'm probably the most excited about right now is Denizens this weekend. And we basically, for people who don't know, it's a third floor, like, open patio on a rooftop of this like beautiful office building. It's in Mount Pleasant. It's easy to get to.
Gorgeous view of the city.
Oh my God, the view.
The mountains, the sunshine.
The view is insane.
And what day is it?
It's May 18th. And it's 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. And you get to watch the sunset with us.
Yay.
And we have like, free water, reasonably priced drinks. We literally have like little bags of like free chips and stuff if you're hungry. We really try to, create like a comfortable, ethical environment. We have a lounge. It's awesome.
Very cool.
And it's cheap. It's $30.
Very reasonable.
And then also this weekend is Knox Vaughn at Gorgamish, which is the night before. It's the Friday. It's the 17th. And Knox Vaughn is like this really like, actually, I didn't realize how popular he was until this show came around. He's an Anjuna Deep DJ.
Okay.
And so I know a lot of people in Vancouver love that like deep, like melodic, beautiful Anjuna music. We don't get that at Gorgamish a lot.
No, it doesn't happen so much.
And Knox is playing 2 sets. It's the party starts at 10 p.m.
Oh, I see.
And then it ends at 8 a.m.
Okay.
Oh, and he does 2 sets.
And he's doing a set in the early and a set in the after. And
and they're probably gonna be so different.
It's gonna be wild. I would definitely suggest checking that out. Those are the 2 big plugs I would say for this weekend.
Gorgamish is always good go-to. Denizens.
And I mean that's what I'm excited about. And I would say for Denizens, we did a lot. We have fewer parties this year. I think we're doing like 7 this year.
Okay.
So if you want to go.
Yes, make it a priority.
Once it's gone, it's gone. It's like, once the rain comes, our last party, we're hoping September 14th.
Okay. Yeah. Fingers crossed. Usually it's pretty nice by then, but like.
It's a gamble, but it's a pretty good one.
We just rent like canopies. We're gonna do it no matter what.
It'll happen.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for being here, hanging out, chit-chatting away.
To you guys for setting this up.
No, I love this. I love our
good
chats.
Talk,
Great talking. Make sure to follow everything down below will be linked. And come back every single week. Wednesdays live on Twitch. Tuesdays episodes release on YouTube. So make sure to come back, hang out with us, let us know what you thought in the comment box below. And we'll see you soon. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.